Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. If you are new to my channel, I do all things lifestyle and fashion. If you catch some of my vlogs, you will know that I am a reader, and oftentimes I share with you guys books that I'm about to read, or you may see a vlog clip of me actually reading. So I figured, why not do a separate video for those who are actually interested in the reading portion of my vlogs, just to further kind of dive into what I've read and my star rating on it. You know, if you are into that kind of content, you can click it. If you are not, I completely and totally understand. If you have any questions, if you're curious about getting into reading, where to start, any of that, please let me know. So, just for those who are new here, I read a little bit of everything. I read literary fiction, thrillers, I read romance, I read urban fiction, urban romance, horror. I've read it all. I have a little bit of everything on this vast bookshelf. So I wanted to kind of go with you guys everything that I read through September. September was a pretty good reading month for me. I managed to read 5 books. Now that is nothing in comparison to a lot of other people. I consider myself a medium speed reader. I don't necessarily read fast, but I don't read slow. So if I'm focused on reading, like making it a priority, I can typically do like 2 books a week. I know there are some people who can do 2 books in a day. I'm not there. I wish I was, because my TBR wouldn't be so big if it was. So I will quit talking and I will hop into the books that I actually read this year, September. So the first book that I read in September, it kind of straddled a little bit of August too. I started in August, but I finished it in September. So I figured I would actually post it in this video. And this is Checkmate by Ali Hazelwood. This is actually my second book by the author. I read Bride. I did not care for Bride. Honestly, I think I gave it like maybe 2 or 3 stars. It could have been the time that I read it. I've considered rereading it to see if my opinion changes, because I really like this book. I mean, it was heavy on the chest, but the way that it was explained and the detail that it went into, it made the chest interesting. I also like the relationship between the female character and the main male character. So basically this book, I don't want to spoil anything. Let me see. Okay, it does say that. So Mallory, girlfriend right here, has decided that she no longer wants to play chess. She was like a child prodigy of chess, very good at it, decides hated it and doesn't want to do it anymore. This guy Nolan is now like the new top chess champion, and he's killing the game. I mean, he's beating out people who've been playing chess for years, and she's a little bit intrigued by him. And it's a chance meeting that she ends up, as a favor, entering into a chess competition and actually going head to head with him. And ironically, let's see, does it spoil that? Oh, okay. She wins. She wins against the #1 chess player in the world. So everybody's like, who is this girl? And more importantly, he's like, who is this girl? So yeah, it is a chess romance, which is different. It is considered a young adult. I would not say it is with no spice. There is like I give it a 1 chili pepper. There's a little bit of maybe 1.5 chili pepper. There's a little bit of spice in here. So if you're looking to give something to like your child that is spiceless, this is definitely not it. Stick with the Harry Potters and things of that nature. This ain't it, boo. But yeah, I think that this was very good. She's 18. He is 21 or 22, if I'm not mistaken. Typically, I don't read books with characters that young, but this was interesting. I actually rated that book 5 stars. Surprised in my own rating. Yeah, so you can tell that the author did a lot of research. Like, she really researched chess. I don't know if she plays chess or how it goes, but the attention to detail in this book is good, and she made a sport that I'm not really that interested in interesting. So there's that. And then I also read The Paradise Problem. This is my first book by Christina Lauren. I have Love in Other Words, but I haven't gotten around to it. This was my book of the month pick for May. Honestly, I picked it because I was just like, I've heard of them. Maybe this might be good. I've heard Love in Other Words is really good, so this might be too. And I wasn't expecting much out of it. I was just like, oh, you know, it might be hit or miss, but whatever. And I loved it. This book was so funny. It had me literally laughing out loud. So basically it follows a young woman. She at the time was in college, or grad school rather, and she could not afford housing. So her friend's like, hey, my brother is trying to get our family housing, and the only way he can get the family housing is if he marries someone, and then you can just be his roommate and you be rent free. So she marries dude. They have no romance. They don't even look at each other. They don't talk to each other or nothing. Once he graduates and she graduates, everything's over. He has her sign divorce papers and they're done, until he realizes that his inheritance lies on him being married, and he has like this big wedding to go to on a private island. So he has to hit homegirl up years later like, hey, I'm gonna need a favor from you. And she's like, good, because I'm broke. I'm still broke. Situation hasn't changed. I'm still penniless. So let's do this. And it's fun. It's definitely a different spin on fake dating, something that I've never seen before. I love a good fake dating, a good we gotta get married because, I don't know, I'm a sucker for them. So that could just be me. I feel like even if you hate the whole fake dating trope, this was done so uniquely. You know, like there are reasons for doing it. It's like, okay. And I'm gonna be honest with you, if I was gonna have to fake date, he'd be the dude I'd want to fake date with. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. But yes, it was very funny. I was extremely surprised by how much I liked this book. I gave it a 4-star. This is 100% a rom-com. If you were in the mood for like a funny romance comedy, that is what this is. I heart Liam. Okay, said it. So yeah, definitely check this one out. Okay, the next book I read, I do not have the physical copy of, but that is going to change because I feel like it's worth having in my library, and that is Curvy Girl Summer by Danielle Allen. I actually did a buddy read of this book with a friend and my sister, and it's on Kindle Unlimited, so I was able to read it for free, but I did actually purchase the Audible for $7. A little trick for you guys: download the Kindle Unlimited book, and when you go to Audible, it will actually give you a discount on the Audible because it just sees that you have the ebook in your library, so it gives you a discount in Audible. Even if it's Kindle Unlimited, you still get the discount. So yeah, that is a good trick to get discounted Audibles if you don't want to use a credit, or if you just don't have Audible credits. So yeah, Curvy Girl Summer was very good. This book was basically about a plus size woman, and she is, you know, living in Virginia. She went to a HBCU. Homegirl's living her life. She is full of confidence, loving herself, and she has like a little situationship with an ex. But her family's kind of pressuring her like, girl, what's going on? Like, your older sister who passed away, RIP, was married and pregnant, and you out here thotting and bopping. Like, what's going on, sis? When you gonna settle down? She got an uncle who, by the way, I would have slapped, who come in her foul, okay? About her life and how she needs to be losing weight because that's why she ain't got no man. But don't trip. Homegirl stands her ground. She stands her ground. Her friends do tell her like, girl, you do kind of need to put yourself out there. So she starts going on dates. What makes this book funny and fun is just the dating scenarios. It's literally like somebody watched my YouTube channel and clicked my dating horror story playlist and wrote a book, okay? Because Homegirl goes through things on these dates that are hilarious, and like the reasons that she has to like pass on these dudes is just too funny, the scenarios and everything. But she does meet a bartender who's like, look, I see what you're doing here and it ain't working for you. Allow me to help you find a man. And they end up being the love interest of each other. And I won't tell you much more because I think you should kind of go in just a little bit blind. Just know it's a curvy girl and she's having a summer and she's dating and it's everything. Now, as far as mood reading, I don't necessarily feel like you have to read this book in the summer because like I said, I read it in September and I didn't feel like it was out of place. It's not really heavy on like the beach and all this. It's just happens to be summer and the weather's nice, you know? Okay, so I gave that book a 4-star. Just know there's a trope in this book that I don't like. I have never found this trope. It's a frustrating trope for me. It's like, on with it. And it's in this book, but despite it being in this book, I still gave the book 4 stars. So that speaks to the storyline, despite the fact that it's a trope I don't like. Ahmad, the main character, love him. Okay, homegirl, I can't tell you her name. I can't tell you her name. And when I can't really remember the name, that's when I can't give a book a 5-star. 5-star means I'm going to remember these names of these characters all the time. And I can't think of her name right now. So that's why the book, that's not the only reason why the book is a 4-star, but the book's 4-star. Still good. You know, I'm going to remember bits and pieces of the story for a long time. So that's good. So definitely check out Curvy Girl Summer. Black author. Hoot hoot. We love it. All right. And on to the next one. Oh, excuse me. I rated Curvy Girl Summer 4.5. I lied to you. 4.5. Okay. Now, as far as the next book that I read, I don't have a physical copy of that book either. Basically, what happens is on my shelf, I have Legends and Latte that I was going to read. I was like, oh, that'll be like a good little funsy October book. And then I saw on TikTok that there is like a prequel called Bookshops and Bone Dust. So I saw people going back and forth on whether you needed to read the prequel before Legends and Lattes, or if you need to read it in the order in which it was released. Legends and Lattes was first. After Legends and Latte, the author came out with Bookshops and Bone Dust. And some people felt that there were spoilers in Bookshops and Bone Dust, so that you shouldn't read it first. Then there were other people who were like, no, because I read Legends and Lattes first, I didn't really care what happened in Bookshops and Bone Dust because I already knew what happened. So whatever. I said, you know what? I'm going to do what I want to do. I got the library copy. So I got the library ebook and the library audible for Bookshops and Bone Dust, and I gave it a 3-star. This is definitely YA. This is kid approved. It is a very low stakes fantasy. The only thing that I could say that you may want to consider is there's like a they them aspect to this book. There are some people with no genders, which is typical in fantasy. There are also people who identify as her, and they are in couples with people who identify as her. So that's not a problem for me, but some people are they want to know what it is that they are giving to their younger children. By all means, I understand. Okay, guys, in editing, I realized that I actually did not give you much information regarding what this book was about. This is like a young adult YA fantasy. It's like low stakes. There wasn't really much plot to this book. Basically, essentially, it was about a character who fights along with this crusade. They get rid of monsters that are attacking villages, things of that nature. And she is one of the fighters. She gets injured in a fight, so they tell her to rest up, get better in this little small village while they continue to look for this necromancer that they need to catch. She ends up working in a bookstore, which is hence the bookshop, and all these things start happening and uncovering of them trying to find this mythical creature that is plaguing the area. So it's pretty simple. Like I said, it's low stakes, very, very fall vibes. So there you go. Definitely cozy, gives you all of the fall vibes with the bookshop. You feel like you can smell the books, and it was just very cutesy. That's it, just very cutesy. It's not gonna enhance your brain, it's not gonna be thought-provoking. It was cutesy bootsy, and again, I gave it a 3-star, and it's a quick read, quick easy read. And yeah, get it at the library. I don't even think there was a wait for it. Next book that I read was another book of the month pick. I cannot believe I read so far 3 book of the month books in 1 month. The reason why it's so shocking to me is because I've had book of the month now for almost 2 years, almost, at the very least a year. So we're talking at least 12 books, and I had never read a single book of the month book until this month. This is literally the first month, and I knock out 3. So in all things Halloween, I did want to read Starling House. I have had this since October 2023. So I have had this book for a year. So yeah, clearly I've had book of the month for a while. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pick this up. It is titled as being thriller, it's titled as being gothic, and a gothic fiction. So I was like, you know what, let's give it a whirl. It had really good reviews. I didn't really know what I was going to. Basically, I just knew that there was a woman who lives in a small town, and she just felt this drawing to this house. This house just like called to her. She would have dreams about it. She would think about it. She would find herself walking home from work and taking the long way so that she could walk past the house, and it felt like home to her, despite the fact that she had never been in it and no one in the town had ever been in it, because the house has such a horrible history. It is a house that dates back to like slavery times, and there have been a lot of mysterious deaths that have taken place in the house, and there's always like a new overseer or a new Starling family member that comes and moves in every time someone dies, and the house is just creepy. And the town has like this like aura of like bad luck and creepiness to it, and they say that, you know, they feel like it's all the stories of everything that happened with Starling House, and all the, like, the town is cursed almost. But she's like, hey, this is home for me, and I don't know what it is about this house. Without giving away too much, because again, I like going into books blind. Maybe you do too. Okay, so the girl has a younger brother who she's basically trying to take care of and get him out of the town, because she knows the town is like no good. And she gets an offer of a lifetime to actually be able to go into Starling House and actually make money. So she's like, I think this is meant to be. I've always been dreaming about this house, and now I have the opportunity to not only go in and see what I've been dreaming about, but I can actually make some money and get my brother out of here. So there are some twists, not like huge twists, but a little bit of a thriller aspect to it. There is also, ironically, a romance aspect to this book. I was not expecting there to be any romance in this book, but there is. Spice, I would probably give it like a half a chili pepper. And I actually rated this 3.7. I did not know what was going on the whole time I was reading it. I didn't know what the plot was. I didn't know where this was going. Was it finna be paranormal? Was it finna be fantasy? I had no freaking idea, and I loved every minute. It's more like a weird urban fairy tale, if that makes sense. So if you're into a weird urban fairy tale, then this will be the book for you. Like I said, it was a 3.7. I definitely recommend it for Halloween. It is a very good Halloween book. I live by myself. I was able to sleep at night, but I did not read Ma'am at night, and I didn't listen to the Audible at night. So there's that, because the way my brain works, whatever I consume right before I go to bed, I typically dream about. So I had to put homeboy to the side, homegirl, homeboy to the side at night. Okay. And the last book that I read for September is gonna be a shock to some who watch my vlogs, because you're gonna be like, Amber, I saw you pick up that book and say you were reading it in like April, and then I saw you pick it up and say you were reading it in like June. Well, I finally read it. After 2 soft DNFs, I actually read Checkmate. Now, let me be clear. I am very much into werewolves, vampires, all that. I gravitate towards it. Didn't know that about myself until this year. So when Lana Ferguson announced that she was coming out with a werewolf shifter romance, and they're like in the medical field, I was like, sign me up. I gobbled it up. I almost pre-ordered this, but I said, no, I'm not going to pre-order it. I got it like the day it came out. And it also came out around the same time as Bride. And I read Bride first. And I think I was just like, I don't want any modern day wolf, vampire, anything after Bride. Sorry, Allie. But so I kept like starting this and then putting down, starting and putting down. Anyways, I finally was like, we're getting into spooky season. Amber, read the book. And it was good. I was like shocked that I put it down so many times. To be fair, every time I put it down, I think I didn't even get to page 20. It would be so early on and I was just not in the mood. And I'm very much a mood reader. I have to be in the mood to read a certain genre or a certain type of book. Like if I read a whole bunch of contemporary, I'm gonna need to throw a thriller in there. I'm gonna need to throw a thriller in there. I'm gonna need to throw urban fiction. I have to put something in there to break it up. But so I think I just was reading this at the wrong time. But anywho, I gave it a 3.5. I do think that this was a good book. It was very steamy. I think she's known for her steam. Only thing that I really had an issue with this book, why I gave it a 3.5, is because it seemed to me like there was some holes in the story, paranormal or like fantasy wise. Like, okay, we get that they are shifters, right? He's an alpha, she's an omega. There was really no explanation of what that meant. People were aware that there were wolves, but like, yet it was still a whole lot of myths. So like, how long have you guys been around? Like, are there other creatures? Like, how does the world work? Because clearly there were some type of like guidelines or laws, because that's what ensued this Checkmate thing was because there was a policy they were trying to avoid regarding, you know, their designations. So it's like there was all this like, we're here, everyone knows about us, but there was no like world building. And I understand that it's a rom-com and that I didn't necessarily need you to be like, we traveled to Bligham with Higgum up the Khalifa mountain. I didn't need that. I don't need that. That's fine. I don't need the epic fantasy. But just some questions, like, I mean, they're doctors and they don't really know like anything about themselves or their kind, but yet they admit that in medical school they learned about their kind. Like, I'm not understanding how, as doctors who are also wolves, you guys don't know anything about wolves. I can't say that word. You guys don't know anything about wolves, and that part I didn't get. I was waiting for that to kind of fill in, but you know, outside of that humongous loophole to me, it's not a bad book. It is a rom-com, steamy, you know, it's like, oh, okay, I've been reading a whole lot of serious stuff. Let me just get something that's just like, you know, rom-com-y, easy, but got a little bit of fantasy in it. That is this book. So it's still a book that I would recommend to people. 3.5 is what I'm giving it. So yeah, surprise, surprise, surprise. My 1 5-star book to be a Ali Hazelwood book, while in the same video I'm basically saying that one of her books slumped me. You just never know. That's the thing. You just never know with the author. You just never know with reading. You never know. You never know. So, I did want to go ahead and kind of lead into the next portion of this video, which is what am I going to be reading for October? What is Amber going to read for October? Because I'm putting this September kind of wrap up book out kind of late, and it's already October, I figured I'd just give it to you guys all in one video. So I have my list here of what I plan to read for October. Let's see. So first is, I have already started Wildfire by Hannah Grace. This will definitely be one that I'll be finishing up in October, and I'll tell you guys my feelings, my thoughts, and everything. This is only the author's second book, so yeah, I'll let you guys know what I think. The next book that I'm going to be reading is Phantasma. I'm hoping that I can actually finish this book. My only concern is it's been described by so many different people in so many different ways. I'm okay reading like dark fantasy, dark romance, and all of that. I just don't like anything that is satanic or, you know, dealing with, you know, blasphemy against God or anything like that. So I'm going to attempt to read this book because someone described it as not being that. But if I start getting the feeling that that's where it's going, it's going to have to be a DNF for me. Nothing against the author or anybody who likes books like that. Just for me, I don't like bringing that type of thing into my body or my mind or even my home. So I have not even purchased the book. It is in Kindle Unlimited, and I haven't heard a bad review from it yet. So we'll see. We'll see. I'll tell you more about it once I start it, or if I finish it. The next book that I'm going to be reading in October is Kiss It Better. This is urban romance. This is by Siobhan Latrice. I have read, this is the, don't give me the lying, this is the fifth book in the series. They are all interconnected standalones, meaning you do not have to read the other prior ones in order to read the current one. I have personally read all of them. They are here. I don't know if you guys can see, but Marriage Favor, Wait for You, Letters from a Gangsta, Your Ex Ain't Me, and then I'm going to read Kiss It Better. I personally waited to read this because the Audible comes out in 2 days, and I wanted to do an immersive read. An immersive read is when you read it and you listen to it to get the full rounded experience. So full transparency, this is my sister, and I knew that the Audible was coming. I sure did, so I waited. And trust me when I tell you, that has been hard, because I'll ask her questions and she'll be like, so you want me to spoil it? And I'm like, no, okay, don't tell me, don't tell me, don't tell me. Or something will, like, she has a group on Facebook, and I'm in the group, and somebody will say something, and I'm like, what are they talking about? And she'll be like, why are you in there? Like, why are you in the group when you know you haven't read the book? You know? So the 6th book is already out. It's called Feelings for You, and it follows another brother. So all the rambling, basically this is the Crenshaw King series, and it follows brothers. They all have like different personalities, different storylines. Like, I don't want to spoil anything for you. I really don't want to spoil anything, but Marriage Favor basically is the parents, and then Wait for You is the oldest brother, Kari, and then Letters from a Gangster is Mabu Laquay. He is the one that I would say probably takes after the most of his stepfather from Marriage Favor book. And then you have Your Ex Ain't Me, which is like the younger brother, but don't play with him. And then this is the next book. Okay, so the next book that is on my list is Tender is the Flesh. This is like a horror book, a dystopian story. I think because it's so small, it's so thin, I'll be able to knock through this soon. So I asked my sister, I said, you know, go ahead and pick a book for me. Doesn't matter what genre, just something that you think I normally, maybe I would or would not read on my own, but you know, what do you think? And she picked Firefly Lane, which is a show on Netflix. I've seen maybe one episode, but she thinks that this book is really good. So I'm going to be reading Firefly Lane. This will be my first, I think it's Christina Hanna that makes that book. I am the business if that's who writes it, and I just said that off the top of my head. But yeah, so I will be picking that up or borrowing her copy. I haven't decided. And I will be reading Firefly Lane. And then I'm going to read Pumpkin Spice Cafe just because it sounds so cutesy and I love the cover. I don't have the book yet, but I will. I should have gotten it. I did a huge like Barnes trip, like $200 Barnes & Noble trip. I should have definitely ordered that one, but we'll take care of that. But Pumpkin Spice Cafe is another one that I'm gonna read. And then I threw this on for good measure, One Dark Window. This came to a recommendation from me of TikTok because everybody was talking about how much they love Fourth Wing and Fourth Wing, Fourth Wing, and Fourth Wing, and Fourth Wing. And this girl commented and was like, well, my favorite will always be One Dark Window. And everybody in the comments was like, oh my God, it's so underrated. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. So I told my sister, like, hey, everybody says that this book, One Dark Window, is so good. My sister was like, interesting. My sister reads like at lightning speed, okay? So I recommended it to her. She read before me and she was like, it's the truth. So it has become one of her favorite books. And trust me when I say, my sister is picky, okay? My sister is picky. So yeah, this is what she recommended. This is what I'm going to read because I attempted to read it, I want to say a couple of months ago, and I made the mistake of reading it before I went to bed, and I had a really crazy dream. And the book's not even scary, but I just had a really crazy dream that like my niece was like, somebody was posing as my niece, and my real niece was there. Like I didn't know who was my real niece, and one of them was like a monster, but one of them was her, and I had to like shoot the monster. And even though it wasn't real, and I didn't shoot my niece, and it was a monster, I was just like, no, just the thought, no. Okay, you turned my niece into a monster. There's not even any monsters in this book. Do you hear me? I hadn't even hit a spot of anything regarding monsters. To tell you what the book is about, basically it's a whole different world, okay? This magic system is like none you ever heard of. People have cards, and this girl has this affliction, this virus, and the virus makes a voice talk to you. And it don't tell you like go over here and stab this dude, but it just gives you magic. It gives you magical powers. So the government does not want anybody who has this affliction or this virus to be around. This girl has the virus, but it's like a secret. So if she collects all of these cards, she'll be able to like rid herself of the virus. So it's about her going on this mission to kind of get rid of this virus and cleanse herself of this. But yeah, so everyone says it's so good. I actually have special edition copies of this coming this month. I already have the second book, Twisted Crown, on my shelf. So I just need to read it. I just need to get over myself. I need to read it. So that's what your girl's gonna do. She's gonna get over herself. Now, with the two books that I don't have present here, that is a total of 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a total of 6 books, which is really overzealous for me because I don't read that fast typically. But I'm hoping that I surprise myself. So that basically would be about, I want to do about 2 books a week. So I just have to really like focus and put a dent on it. So if you're interested to see what I think of all of those books, and whether or not if I'm successful in finishing this very, very big TBR for myself, then stick around because I will definitely post an update for you guys. So yeah, that's it, guys. Comment down below if you are liking the book content so far. Speak, Amber. Comment any books you recommend for me, or any videos you want to see. Are you guys interested in a video on how to get back into reading and how to figure out what genre is for you? I mean, it sounds like something that's easy, but really it's not. Like, if you stop reading for like 1-2 years, it's kind of difficult to get back into it. It takes a really good book, and I happen to know the ones to do. Okay, but anyways, guys, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for stopping by, and as always, love you, mean it. Bye. That's how we fall out.